What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. I'm back at home in my studio, which feels great, even if I'm not 100%. After Proline by the fire was a little rough, but we're on the recovery. We're a day late with the news, but things are busy. So let's get into all this week's topics. If you enjoy Scale News Update regularly, hit the like button. First, let's cover what we got here in front of us. First for this week, Traxxas has released their own brushless system for the TX4M. This is a brushless system with an outrunner motor, and it's an FOC equipped ESC. The ESC, just like the other TX4M ESCs, is plug and play with the ability to run lights or a winch on it as well. Comes with a 3350 kV motor for this thing. It's just, it's right in line with the standard that has been, often used in the small scale stuff. So Traxxas now with their own version. Price is not bad. It is expensive, but similar to like some of the Furatech stuff, it kind of gets up there. But it's going to drop right in, going to be easy for consumers. Obviously, this is likely something you'll see a lot of in hobby shops. So I could see this becoming pretty popular. This is 2S compatible only. It's not a 3S system, which is a bit of a bummer. I would have liked to have seen this be capable of running 3S, but Traxxas keeps things very in line. So I can see why they did what they did, but would have always liked to see the little bit more power handling ability on that. This was at NERSA, so we did get a peek at this beforehand, but cool little system. I think there's some more stuff coming from Traxxas that you'll see official releases on here before too long as well, and we'll cover those when they hit the news. And also in the mini brushless world, Hobbywing has released the Fusion Mini 16, as well as the WP Mini 24 and the Outer 1624. Now, the Fusion Mini 16 is a small scale Fusion all-in-one system. They show it in the Capra 1/18 scale UTB. They use 16 in the name, and I don't know what the point of that is. Regardless though, little Fusion system. I can definitely see that being a cool new option, and it'll be fun to see exactly where that falls in, or how people like it, if it finds its way into vehicles more than just that Capra 18 scale. So the price is not bad either. It's $59, so that's a bonus. Now the WP Mini 24, this is an ESC with FOC, everything separate unit, and then they've got the Outer 1624, which is the outrunner motor that pairs well with that Mini 24. So this is aimed for the 24 scale market, like we just talked about with the Traxxas. I have no idea if there is any, if Hobbywing OEM'd the Traxxas system and it's got the integrated Traxxas electronics, or if it's just a coincidence that they got released around the same time. I haven't done much more research into that to compare specs and stats to see exactly how close they are, or if there could be some tweaked hardware between the two to make it compatible. I don't know, but hopefully we find some more information on that before too long. Hobbywing stuff is pretty reliable. People like it. It's widely available, which is all great. So if you're in that small scale market, there's a lot of new options for you. And in other ESC news, or the opposite of ESC news, Associated has re-released the SR7 platform, but as an ARTR. Now the SR7, if you don't remember, I don't blame you, it's a 1/7 scale platform with a unicorn body that Associated briefly released and then had to recall, basically. They had anybody who had them in stock had to send them back. They all had to go away because there was massive problems with the ESC area. Now, it was something that we commented on in the news at the time of release, because this 6-cell capable vehicle came with Dean's plugs to start, which is a bit scary at a bare minimum. But if you ran it at full power, it was prone to have some issues. So that was what prompted the recall. And like I said, shops had to, pull them off shelves, send them back to distributors or the actual not the fact they didn't have to send them to the factory, but at least to Associated, whoever their point of contact was there. And these things possibly or probably made it back to the factory, or new boxes were sent from the factory. Either way, they yanked the ESCs out of these cars, and now they're selling these cars as refurbished without an ESC. So everything else appears to be there, like radio, receiver, servos, motor, except the ESC. They just pulled that out and then, okay. So I assume that these are going to come in some sort of properly, noted box that doesn't say RTR anymore. So that's why I'm guessing that there had to be something else done. But maybe they just sent the boxes over, tried to get the cars, and did the labor here in the States to make these things actually available to be sold. Now you can buy these, again, it states refurbished right on the website. They're right around that $500 range now versus the $750 or something range that it was at previously. Not a lot of marketing around this car when it was released, when it was re-released now, anything like that. It's an odd one. Associated has there's a lot of odd going on in the times over there. So this one just popped back up, and it just kind of, everything just feels weird about it. So, but if you've been looking for one of those platforms, you wanted to build a speed run car, or you just really like large scale Hoonigan stuff, then, now's your chance to get it at a pretty deep discount, and you were likely going to have to change the ESC anyway. So you don't have to pay for what you're not going to use in the long run. Associated also released a RC10J Halsey edition kit. Now, this was on display at NERSA also. I am not a vintage RC10 person, so I didn't know a ton about it, or, have much to look at to compare to previous versions. But if that does mean something to you, obviously RC10 collectors are all over, and this might be one of those that you're interested in. And speaking of Associated, the former president of Associated, Sean Ireland, who exited the company around Christmas time last year, has now landed at AMain. There was a post from Sean stating his new location or his new position, but I didn't see specifically state what he was going to be doing there. Now, Sean has been in the RC industry for a really long time with a lot of history of, racing, success, things like that. Again, he was the president of Associated for some time. He was moved to a different position before the exit, but now finding his new home at AMain. AMain has picked up a lot of people as of late. A couple of others, or at least one other from Associated recently. I believe their head of sales has gone to AMain also in the last few months or so. It's an interesting thing to do, to watch as people move around the RC industry, and AMain has been picking up a lot of those key people as they've left one company or another to go there. I'm sure there's more great things to come from Sean Ireland now. Looking forward to the future with that. Next, Praise Wheel, the series where Matt from the Scale Builders Guild and myself are building H10 optics by the direction of a wheel of misfortune. Now, the scale news is going up today on Wednesday, and there won't be an episode this week. You'll see it next week. Matt and I were both traveling for NERSA and Proline by the Fire, and there was too much going on to be able to get an episode up. So you'll see that upcoming in 1 week. We did spin last Wednesday for our tasks that we need to complete for the upcoming week. This week actually went in my favor, so I'm excited for that. Looking forward to the upcoming week of videos, so make sure and check that out next Wednesday. But if you just can't wait until then, you can also check out the channel membership, which gets you early access to the videos as soon as they get uploaded. Like the Scale News Update, which you usually get the night before. Even if it's a day late, you get it the night before it goes up again. Then you also get After News Delight, where it's just an expansion on the topics of the Scale News Update. And this week I need to do some recapping on Proline by the Fire as well. I did take some video at Proline by the Fire. I did go run the We RC Rock event, which is always a blast, and I'm really looking forward to getting all that video together. And that will come here before too long. So if you're interested in channel membership, help support the channel a little extra, there's information on that in the description below, or you can hit the join button next to where you hit subscribe. Today, as you're watching this, possibly, live stream Takeover, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Matt and I will be recapping and going back and reminiscing about all of the things that we accomplished over the last 9 days or so while we traveled. It was an absolute blast. We got a ton of things done. Looking forward to that live show for sure. New this week from Proline, they've got some 1/6 scale. It's hard to say. Steelies for the SCX6. Now, this is a stamped steel front face with a beadlock ring on the outside, and then the standard molded inner clamp ring and rear face of the wheel. Keeps these fairly affordable, and if you just like that steely style of some of the, more budget style full-size rock crawlers, then this, fits right in it. You can get them in a black wheel face with 2 different color ring options on the front. So if you've got an SCX6 and you want to change some things up, check those out. Available now for order. They also released over there 1985 Toyota HiLux body for the SCX24. You may have thought we already had that. I thought we already had that. I don't necessarily, the difference between one Toyota, I don't know. Toyotas, they all look the same. Anyway, 1/24 scale body. One thing that was interesting is in the photos that they used for this body, there's an interior with little men in there. They don't make any mention of that in the description, like anything that says not included or anything like that. I'm wondering if Proline is going to release a separate interior for the 1/24 scale bodies. It wouldn't surprise me. But again, I thought that there would have maybe been some information in the description just to kind of state. It says, the chassis is not included, but doesn't say anything about that interior. Maybe we'll see more information here before too long. This week I got forwarded a letter from one of the hobby shops up in Canada, and he got a notice saying that Tamiya paints had to be pulled from shelves in Canada because one of the ingredients that's included in Tamiya paints is at a higher allowable level than what the Canadian government allows. Now, this means that the Tamiya paints will have to be, pulled and not sold to customers in Canada until that's rectified. Now, I'm not sure if they have to then ship all of those paints to somebody, or Tamiya has to pay to have them recalled, or something along those lines. But you could see a lull in the availability of those paints if you're in Canada. Now, this isn't a rare thing. Oftentimes in consumer goods, a chemical is found to be, unsafe or banned or whatever it is, and companies have to find a substitute for that. This happens in everything from foods to makeups to paints. It happens all of the time. But in this case, it's going to happen to something that many of you may use fairly regularly. So maybe your local hobby shop is going to allow you to buy some of it. If you need some, maybe stock up before then, if Tamiya paint is your preference. So just a little bit of a heads up. Otherwise, look forward to a reformulation of Tamiya paints. And then we'll have to wonder if it's going to be a Canada only thing or if they'll just reformulate all of the paints to make it consistent. Seems like that's probably the route that it will go, but again, what do I know? This week, Boom Racing posted up some renderings of the BRX-01 AWB that they're working on, this leaf-sprung big old truck. Wheelbase says 267 to 287 with some optional extensions to go to 307. I'm not sure what all of that means though, because they are showing it with the body. So I'm not sure if the AWB is not just the model with the body or what's going on specifically there, but beyond the fact that it has leaf springs, it's still a cool option. I like it better than like the Defender things that they have. So whatever. But I don't know exactly when this will be available or anything like that, but maybe it's something you're interested in. You're going to keep an eye out. You can follow them for more information as that becomes available. H-Tech released an aluminum rear shock mount for the H10 Optic. That's just the rear piece that goes just behind the driver and passenger area. Goes in there, allows the shocks to mount to it. Available in both clear anodized and clear anodized and black. Pick that up for your Optic if you're looking for something to change it up a little bit, just like the bling factor, whatever it may be. And Kosho America released a 20th anniversary limited edition Ultima 87 World Champion World's Spec Edition Kit. It's like one of the longest names. Not probably the longest, but very close. You know how I like long names. 20th anniversary. That means 2004, if you're not so good at math, but 20th anniversary to me still seems like it should be from the 80s. I don't know why. Anyway, Kosho Ultimas. This is a cool looking thing. Carbon or graphite, whatever they want to call it. Looks cool. Again, vintage stuff. I don't know that much about. Maybe you're interested. That's why I put it here. TWS. They released the CTS Advanced Chassis Kit. Now you've seen the TWS, CTS, VTR, all of the other acronyms that they've put on this. This is just their Advanced Chassis Kit. Very similar to the previous CTSs that you've seen before. Not a lot of difference. I've built one myself. It's very similar to an MST. Not something you're likely going to pick up for sheer performance, unless if you're comparing it to other platforms on the market. But it does have a forward mounted motor. It's super narrow, not a long wheelbase, anything like that. And maybe you're just looking for something new, you want to try something out, you can take a look at TWS's website. I believe that you can get these through RC Mart currently, and that's the easiest way to get them in the US, if I'm not mistaken. Holmes Hobbies just released the CrawlMaster HV brushless. Now, this is an updated version of the CrawlMaster V2, I believe. Now, this has now capable of up to 6S LiPo with certain kV motor options. I believe it's down to like 1,000 kV motor. You can run that on a 6S. It's got some great big 120 amp MOSFETs in it for that wild power handling, and it's less expensive than the previous V2. Nice and compact. This is different than the CrawlMaster V3, which is like that AM32 base, but each of them kind of has their place and their, proper uses. So if you're interested in a new ESC and that sounds like something that would fit what you need, they're on the Holmes Hobbies website currently. Then Racebox Micro GNSS/GPS Performance Analyzer. Now, Racebox makes these performance analyzers for full-size race cars, but now they've got this micro version, and it is specifically tailored now for RC cars. It's got a little power adapter so you can get it wired straight into your receiver power so that you can keep this thing powered up. You don't have to USB charge it like you do with like a Sky RC GNSS. This also samples much faster. This is at like 25 Hertz, so 25 samples per second versus the Sky RC, which I think is somewhere around 10. So a little bit more accurate if you're into the speedrunning world or maybe flight, racing, all kinds of areas where data could help you a lot. Then this is a cool new one on the market. Racebox, like I said, they've got a history that goes to the full-size world, so this isn't just a new company popping into RC. This would definitely be one that I would be interested in. Maybe I'll find a reason that I need it myself. Very cool. It's available currently at Scorched RC Parts. They're out of the UK. I bought a lot of stuff from them for the Arma 1/7 scale platforms. They're huge into speedrunning, and if this is something that they're interested in, imagine that's a pretty good product. Last weekend was Proline by the Fire. That's why I'm still absolutely cooked. It was one of the most amazing events. Got the chance to shake hands with a ton of people. I'm guessing that's where this cold came from, though. It's one of you. It was worth it. Again, it was an absolutely fantastic time just to meet so many people, shake so many hands, say thanks for watching. It was truly, truly amazing. Just an absolutely fantastic time. I did make some time to go run the WRC rock courses, but that was it. I didn't drive any trails beyond that. I didn't really get a chance to walk around much beyond that. That was it. But again, it could not say enough good things about the time that we had there. So hopefully some of you were there and I got to, shake your hand or say hello, look at your truck, whatever it may be. And any of you that did stop by, truly appreciate it. But that does it for this week's news topics in total. For this week's question, kind of running it back to the event side. Obviously, not everybody can travel great distances to make it to an event like Proline by the Fire. But RC is amazing for a lot of people. Met a ton of people there that had great stories of, you know, how RC helps them, or, you know, has helped, not just in like a, this has become my fun hobby, but like ways that RC has truly been a great distraction or a great outlet, whatever it may be. A lot of people can be thankful for RC for a lot of reasons. And if you have one of those reasons, drop it in the comments below, whether it's just that nice escape for you or gives you that competitive outlet where you can go, you know, test your racing prowess, anything like that. If you have something to be, you know, thankful for RC, put it in the comments below. We had such a great and positive outcome at the event that a little bit more of it in the comments is always nice to read. So, as always, I appreciate all of you who watch, come to say hello, any of that. So again, thank you. And I mean it. But with that, thanks again for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you're not already. Like 50% of you who watch the show are subscribed. So hit the button. It helps us a bunch. But again, channel memberships are open, all the good stuff. Thank you again. See you on the next one.